Last week, we learned how George Satterfield started his venture into business here in South Carolina with a television tube testing machine. And then he designed a display case that sold jewelry and small gifts. And these display cases were in over 100 stores in the Carolinas and Georgia. And then tragedy came home to George Satterfield. Here is the rest of the story in his own words.
I was burning some trash and poured some gasoline on what I thought was out, fire that was out, and a spark was in there and it caught fire. And I got burned. Every place where I had polyester just melted on me. And I was burned 76%, all second and third degree, and evacuated by helicopter to Charleston, to the medical unit down there. I had medical bills coming in, I had bills that were due, and we didn't know what to do. So some of the employees got the idea of let's selling retail and let the people come in and get it. They were more or less liquidating it, I guess. I don't know whether they didn't think I was going to make it or not, but they were liquidating the merchandise. And to let people know, my pastor at that time made an announcement from the pulpit telling people get in there and buy some of this stuff. And they did. They came in, and they told friends, and we really had some pretty good sized crowds. It wasn't for very long. They tell me that the traffic was lined up all the way down to the bridge on Flat Springs Road. People wanting to bargain. Well, I didn't know at the time that they were selling the things at wholesale, but some of them were selling far below cost, but they were selling it. And it did very well. And then they thought they had enough of it, and they were closing it up. And people begged, why don't you stay open a little longer? Why don't you stay open a little longer? So they stayed open for the holidays. And then that was doing pretty well. And we got a thing called serpentine chain, a little gold chain, which was brand new. People didn't go around wearing chains before. And we put that in there. And that was the only item that didn't sell. But they were $20, and people wanted something a little bit less. And later on, we discounted them, and they sold. And that was the first time that I started discounting on purpose. And that was the start of the philosophy that we have, is never to sell anything at retail. And we still don't. So what we did was took the merchandise and we put it on the displays that we had when we had a showroom for the wholesale business. And we made it sort of like a jewelry store. In fact, it became our first store. And we had some other little things in there, such as some jewelry for Carolina that we had made before. That was one of the items. And so someone had seen that, and he was in the t-shirt business, and he came in and wanted to give us some t-shirts on consignment to go along with it. He said these people would buy this. And so that we got some Carolina t-shirts on consignment. And we put that and the jewelry for the colleges over to the one side, almost like its own department. And it did very well. We had the men coming in buying it. And so we thought, well, this is a good idea. We'll put more of it in. More men will come in while the women are shopping. They can do it. Well, that worked, except that the men shopped both sides and the women started shopping both sides. And so this became our prototype then for the college store and the fine jewelry. 1981, we decided to open up the second store over on St. Andrews Road. And the man that we had planned to manage the store was not hired at the last minute. And my son, Scott, who had just gotten out of high school, was putting up stock. And he said, I'll do it. And I said, sure, in 6 or 7 years, maybe you'll do it. And he started working at it, and the opening came before we got a replacement. I left him in there. He was doing a good job. He did almost $1 million worth of business the first year. And that was the beginning of his jewelry experience. From this point, we opened up other stores, and we expanded on our merchandise. In the college field, we tried to take advantage of unique situations. Joe Morrison was here. We made up a group of clothes that was called Joe Morrison, I don't know, Joe Morrison Originals or something like that. And we sold those, and we had a hat that you see here that resembles a quarterback that was very famous here, Steve Satterfield. We made these up. And we did a lot of things like this to keep people happy. We called that our fun business, and we really didn't plan to make that our livelihood. When we went into the business, it seemed like succeeding with an item was more important to me than the money. And my son pointed that out to me. I would rather see this succeed than worry about how much money I was making from it. It's probably not good business sense. We tried to make our business unique, make it a place that had everything in it that people would want, and be an atmosphere that they could enjoy shopping at. We want them to be comfortable. There's nothing that makes me happier than to hear someone now saying, "Jewelry Warehouse, oh, I love the shop there," and that really makes me feel good. And we put in all these little extras and all to make them happy. But 81 to 84 was sort of like the golden years for us, because in 1981 Clemson won a national championship, and in 84 Carolina had Coach Morrison's Black Magic there, and those two, they were that was the most successful team in Carolina's history. And so between the two of them, the collegiate business just boomed, and that of course helped the jewelry business at the same time. And then in 83, we had a little girl came over, wanted to do some promotion work with us. Well, she was Dahlia Garcia, who had just been selected Miss South Carolina. And from that, we became the official jeweler for Miss South Carolina. We've been for 21 years. We still look for new items. We try to be on the cutting edge. If we see something that looks new, we investigate it. We try to find the best product at the best price, and then give the best service for it. And that's pretty much where we got to where we are today. I think our business has been a success because we've been selected as the best jeweler for 13 straight years in the Best of contest in Columbia. And I think the secret of our success is having a good family, a good extended family at Jewelry Warehouse, and loyal customers. But the biggest thing is that we have God who took a lot of tragedy and turned it into a blessing.
What an incredible story about an incredible man, a very nice man. And George Satterfield's story is in its entirety on WISTV.com. And if you haven't visited Jewelry Warehouse lately, do go by any of the 3 locations here in Columbia. And don't forget to register for the drawing of the ultimate tailgate party. Log on to WISTV.com and click on Photo Album.